If you're in Seattle, and you need to buy or sell a home, we'll be right there for you. Because we're the realtors that you can trust. So go to ronanddonsitdown.com.
You're listening to The Ron and Don Show on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
Hey, you guys, what's going on? Welcome to another edition of the Ron and Don Show. Happy holidays, and we are live back here in the Schwab studio.
What is up, Ron and Don Nation?
Hey, don't forget, coming up on the Ron and Don Show, I read a lot of In Touch magazine, and I got some good news from the Stars Are Just Like Us files, right? Ron and I get in fights, so every once in a while, Matt off the mic, we fight. You don't talk. I got great news, though. Did you hear about what happened with Jerry O'Connell? Jerry O'Connell and John Stamos. Have you heard the news?
I think I read about this.
Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson.
I haven't heard about that.
I'm going to tell you about them, and then also, because a lot of fighting going on, and then also I got an update about, have you heard of the Brady Bunch?
No.
You know that, a lot of people have noticed that one of the sisters has not been on the podcast, The Real Brady Bros. She's back and on the podcast.
A lot of people have noticed.
A little bit of friction.
How many is a lot of people? You?
I got an update for you, the new Brady Bros. Also, we got to talk about women quitting their husbands. What does that mean? Matt will explain that because he understands this. In fact, he wrote this article. Before we get to that, though, let's get to this. The S&P 500 is no longer important. Ron, everybody's looking at the S&P 493. What is the S&P?
Well, I would disagree. I think that it is important, but it has been skewed. And so just to back up a little bit, what is the S&P 500? It is a fund. It's a tradable instrument on the stock market.
I thought it was a car race.
There
S&P 500.
Yeah. There are two versions of it on the stock market. One is called SPY, and that is a instrument that you can own. So you could go into your 401k or into your account, and you can buy 10 shares of SPY. And then there's a thing called SPX. SPX is 10 times the value of SPY. So if SPY is worth $650 a share, SPX is worth $6,500 per share. The thing with SPX is you cannot own it. And so I cannot go out and buy 10 shares of SPX. It's just a tradable commodity that happens day in and day out on the stock market, and there's a lot of speculation that happens in that. And so what the S&P does, Standard & Poor's, is they send out analysts and they try to compile in their instrument, SPY or SPX, the 500 most valuable companies in America. And it's just by a sheer rank of those companies. And so it doesn't matter what category you're in, what sector of the economy you're in, it's just the 500 biggest companies. And so what has happened in the last decade is the proportion of the S&P 500 that's dominated by 7 companies is outweighing the rest of the index. So you have, I believe it's Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Tesla, Meta, Alphabet, and someone else that I'm blanking on.
They call them the Magnificent Seven.
And so there are these companies that make up 30% of the value of the S&P 500, and then the other 493 companies make up the 70%.
And the point is, these companies are tech companies, and a lot of these companies are driven by a lot of the money that's being pumped into AI.
Yeah, so
right
when
now.
you trade these instruments, and I do trade SPX sometimes, and I do trade a little bit of SPY in my retirement accounts, when you'll see huge jumps happening in intraday, depending on, so let's say NVIDIA has earnings reports, which they just did a week or so ago, and the market might move wildly on NVIDIA on earnings day. That can affect the S&P 500 by a huge amount, whereas the 489th company on that list that has nothing to do with AI chips, they're also included in this index, but whether or not they did well has very little impact on the fund.
So the point being, we keep hearing about this AI bubble. When is the bubble going to burst on AI? I remember you and I where in the Bay Area, and then after that we moved to Arizona kind of during the .com boom. I remember going, in fact, we worked for CNET for a minute and did a couple shows for them with Ryan Seacrest. You may have heard of him.
How'd he end up doing?
Yeah, I think he did okay. We went to remember that tech party, that CNET party that we went to? It was an incredible all over San Francisco before the bubble burst, and then the bubble burst. And we could really, before the bubble burst in San Francisco on a 60-second spot in Morning Drive, they could get $6,000 to $10,000 for one 60-second spot on Morning Drive. That same 60-second spot, when the bubble burst, was now, you could buy that for about $600. That same 60-second spot, because of where radio's at right now, you could probably buy that spot today for $60. So it's really amazing when the bubble burst in radio. It continues to burst. Are you concerned, as you're an investor, as you're looking at Wall Street, are you concerned about this imbalance a little bit? And do you think there's going to be a bubble that bursts? Because one of the things that our president likes to say is, hey, people are saying that the economy is real shiznit, but just look at Walmart right now. You can buy a turkey dinner this year for a lot less money, or he says gas is down,
which is
or
not true.
Beef is down, or eggs are down. The cost of fuel is down. And then he's also saying, hey, just look at Wall Street. It's rocking and rolling right now.
Well, those are many different topics that you threw out. So let's take the fear of the bubble. There is an AI bubble, but let's step back though and go, what is the wager that they're making? So what is AI trying to do? You have these big companies like Elon Musk has XAI and Grok, and you have your ChatGPT, which is OpenAI, and so there are these companies. What are they trying to do? Well, there's a race to get to generalized intelligence, AGI, and then there's a race after that to get to like an intelligence that is beyond anything that human beings can do. So they are placing these billions of dollars into the infrastructure to create these models, with saying commerce, if we get there, this can be the biggest change in human history for productivity. So they are making an economic wager that says if we can get our ChatGPT, our large language model, or other models to the point where they are better than human beings at virtually any job, then we are going to be able to recoup the value of that 10 times, 100 times, 10,000 times of what we're spending now. That's the wager. So are they going to be able to do that? So this is where we come in. Yeah. Are all the companies that are in this game going to be able to do that? Well, clearly not. Like, there's going to be a winner. And that's why Elon went out and spent so much money rapidly to make his own data center, because he was behind Google. He was behind, Microsoft that was partnered with ChatGPT. So there is a arms race to create artificial general intelligence. What does that mean? That's human level intelligence. Because up until now, computers could be very good at one thing. And so where a human can be very good at a bunch of different things. So a computer could say, add this column of 10,000 numbers up, boom, done in a millisecond, and a human can do that. But then you ask the computer, throw this football. It can't do it. Where you could throw the football and you could add numbers, just not as quickly as a computer could do.
2 plus 2 is 4, and I could have just thrown a football right now.
Exactly. Yep. Now, you could throw a football while doing math.
That's human intelligence,
and so
folks.
They're trying to say, when we get to the point where this AGI, where it goes from artificial intelligence to artificial general intelligence, where the computer can do the numbers and write a term paper and look at stock picks and look at manufacturing and just be able to figure out stuff the way a human brain does, that's the wager. So yes, there will be is Anthropic going to be here in 10 years? I don't know. Is Claude going to be here in 10 years? I don't know. One of them is going to be here. We just don't know which one. So it's a bubble in that sense. Is it going to be the same type of bubble as the dot-com boom or the real estate bubble that we had in 2008? analysts are conflicting on that. Some people are saying this is going to be a debt bubble and not a technology bubble. Other people are saying, yeah, this is similar and it's going to bring huge sectors of the economy with it.
Yeah, because in 2008, 2009, 2010, people were like, hey, what is this bubble really about? And it was a bank bubble that was tied to real estate, and that was tied to subprime loans. The dot-com bubble, how would you describe the dot-com bubble compared to what maybe people think the AI bubble is today?
Well, any sort of bubble is just over enthusiasm and an over amount of money going in and out of greed. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, we can put, we'll put $10 million into pets.com, do a Super Bowl commercial, and then it's going to be worth $20 million. And that was happening in some arenas. And then it stopped happening because you had to then deliver on those numbers.
Do you think we're going to see, like crypto right now is taking a dump, but some of the people that went out and created some of the cryptocurrency, including the president's family, they've done really well with crypto, but the people that have gone out and purchased that crypto are losing their heart on it. So do you think AI is going to be, there's going to be a couple of the haves, but many have nots? Real estate is interesting because a lot of people, including myself, were able to benefit from that bubble, to go out, buy real estate, and now the long march back up. What do you think is going to happen with AI? Because they say the future may be that jobs are no longer needed. And now talk about real socialism. How are people going to get paid? How are they going to make money? How are they going to take care of themselves?
Well, I think one thing that I never hear, and I've been listening to a lot about AI lately, the one thing that I never hear anyone talk about is the psychology of human beings. Mm-hmm. So let's just suppose and just take it for granted. At some point, an AI will be smarter than both of us put combined about real estate. They will have amassed the knowledge beyond what you and I could do. So they could do commercial real estate, residential, all the contracts. They are better at all of that stuff than we are. Now, though, a human being needs to do a transaction. And so how long will it take societally for a person that says, I need to go buy a house in Kenmore? I'm comfortable with spending $1 million that I have, or $1.5 million, whatever it is. I'm comfortable enough with this AI to handle this for me. I'm not nervous at all. I'm going to go out and do this transaction for this amount of money for a house. That's the part that I don't know if I haven't heard many people talk about.
Once they prove it can be done, how long will it take for people to adopt it?
Yes.
3 minutes.
I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true because there are stuff right now, like for instance, Zillow and Redfin in our market had an iBuying program. So it was all dialed in. It was guaranteed. They spent tens of millions of dollars to market this. And did the public say, oh, I know these brands, they're here locally, I'm going to be an iBuyer? They did not. They did not become iBuyers. Why do you think that is?
Well, because you got to deal with Victoria down at City Hall, who, when you go to buy a piece of real estate, and let's say that someone took, this happened to someone that bought a piece of real estate that Ron and I helped out last year. They went out and bought a home that had a kitchen in the basement that was put in 40 years ago. 40 years ago, this kitchen was put in the basement, and permits were not pulled. Well, we don't know if permits were pulled because they really didn't have permits 40 years ago, or they didn't have any kind of microfiche that we could look at to see if permits had been pulled 40 years ago. So a neighbor sees some of the pictures of this house being for sale on Redfin and reports the house to Victoria at the city of Seattle. She sends out an inspector. The inspector looks at it and says, yeah, I walked around the house and it seems like that kitchen should have been put in. So Victoria now sends a letter to our new buyers. These are brand new buyers who bought this house. 70% of all homes in Seattle have something that's probably non-conforming. Could be a shed, could be a bathroom, could be an electrical grid, could be the whole damn house. So we have a house now that's non-conforming, and Victoria's decided now that everything in that basement has to be torn out. And if it's not torn out, then we're going to start charging you $500 a day. You're on the clock, go. It has taken over a year and a half of me working with this family to get this figured out, ironed out. We did have to pull everything out. We did have to rebuild everything to code. It's taken an hour. It took a year and a half. We have another situation in a building right now where a deck is falling off. It's not our folks' deck. It's someone else's deck, but it was reported to the city. It has stopped the sale in its tracks. I don't know how AI is going to figure all that out when it comes to, I just had someone I showed you last night. They're staying in one of my Airbnbs. They destroyed one of the windows. One of my guys is over there right now fixing that window. I don't know how AI is going to get over there and fix that window. So it seems like, at least in the near future, until we can connect robots, right, with AI, it seems like in the near future, there's still going to be some kind of human connection to real estate. But there certainly are going to be a lot of jobs out there, and we already see it, where robots are taking over Amazon warehouses. So, hey, you guys, don't go anywhere. We will see you on the other side of this. Hey, you guys, Ron and Don here for Les Schwab. It is our favorite time of year. In fact, everyone at Les Schwab, this is their favorite time of year. It's time to give the gift of joy and join Les Schwab in creating a little holiday magic for all our local kids. Through Les Schwab's Toy Drive, your generosity helps local kids who might otherwise go without the feel of joy this holiday season, Ron. It's so important to the men and women that work in every Les Schwab store, isn't it?
Yeah, this has been going on for 30 years. Les Schwab has partnered with everyone in the community right here in Seattle to brighten the holidays. And so when we all come in, you can bring an unwrapped toy, take it right to your local Les Schwab. You can also donate cash for them to use buying power to buy toys so that every child gets a toy this holiday season. Donate a new unwrapped toy at your neighborhood Les Schwab today until December 15th. It's the Les Schwab Toy Drive now through December 15th.
Don't forget, you get more with less.
Today's show is made possible by your friends Ron and Don. When you're ready to sit down and strategize about your real estate journey, schedule your time with the guys at ronanddonsitdown.com.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Ron and Don Show. Real quick, I just want to take a moment and talk about what we're going to be talking about on the Real Estate Only Show, because Ron is back with the whiteboard. If you haven't watched this, watch the video of this. You got to watch the video. You can watch it on his Facebook or Instagram, my Facebook or Instagram, or you can actually watch this on YouTube because the show is now on YouTube.
And Spotify video.
And Spotify, if you want to check it out. What is the graph about today as we talk about real estate and real estate only on Friday?
Probably
show?
one of my most comprehensive Ron Explains It whiteboards to date yet.
Yeah.
Where I have history over the past 10 years, population growth, interest rates, who the president was, and I'm overlaying the amount of money that's flowing in and out of the Seattle Pacific Northwest real estate market, and also what sellers and buyers can expect on price. We're going to weave all of that together to sort of learn where are we now.
Yeah. I think a fascinating question is, where are we now with the new mayor? Did you hear the other day? Because I mentioned that you have a police detail. You have a detail of 4 police officers that are assigned to you. You get your own SUV. I remember when you and I were interviewing Ed Murray, we'd given him a very hard time, which we should
Deserved.
have. And then we went and had dinner, sat down with him one night, and we had a talk and a chat. And he shows up with 4 cops, right, that are part of his detail. She says that I'm going to just have to give up this detail, and that I want people to see me out in the community, and so she's given up the police detail. I got to commend her for that. She's
It's risky.
She's living her principle. Is it really that risky though, do you think?
We'll see. If she publicized it and people know that she is unprotected, There are a lot of people that disagree with her politics.
Well, I think you're unprotected. I don't think having 4 cops around. I've never heard of a. Have you ever heard of a mayor getting here in Seattle getting attacked?
Well, there was just a governor in Minnesota that was murdered.
Yeah, but not a mayor in Seattle. A little different. Anyway, hey, so that's coming up on Friday's show. Another story here we want to get to, and I used to see this in my spin class a lot. Evidently, women are quitting their husbands, but they're staying with their husbands. Is that what's happening here?
I found this to be an interesting and sad article at the same time. The concept is this. People are together in a marriage. It's not going well. So instead of getting a divorce for a variety of reasons, one of the members, and in this case, they're talking about the woman, just sort of shuts down. And is like, I need to stay in this for financial reasons or security reasons or for the children or I'm close to retirement or whatever their reasoning was. So I'm just going to bite my tongue, be in this relationship and seethe, basically. Just sort of like put up with it. And at some point in the future, I'll figure it out. But for right now, I'm unhappy, I'm unsatisfied, we don't really have any intimacy or a sex life to speak of. And because of these other things that are important to me, I'm just going to go with it. So they call it just kind of, what was the phrase they use now of like unlearning or unfollowing your husband or leaving, quiet quitting.
Quiet quitting, yeah.
Quiet quitting the relationship.
Quiet quitting.
Which I found to be deeply sad.
Yeah. It's interesting when we've watched a few clients go through this, and specifically when it's the woman that's leaving the man. And usually what happens is either she, he, or they together have made a decision. I'm going to plow through this until the kids are out of the house. I'm going to wait until the kids are, no, it's usually till kids graduate high school. They're going to graduate high school. And I know a couple of people that are going through this now, and I saw it with women that were in my spin class. Then the kids graduate from high school. Then the kids start going off to college, but then the kids start coming home because you come home during the holidays, you come home during the summer. And then it becomes, okay, well, I was going to wait till the end of high school, but now I'm going to wait until the kids get done and they're done completing college. But what happens during that time is you get a little taste of what it's like when the kids aren't around, and maybe you get a little taste of a little freedom. This is usually when women start dancing, right? Or they start coming to my spin class, or they start getting out in the community a little bit more, and then they start meeting people. And as they're meeting people, sometimes this is when they start maybe even taking better care of themselves. In the meantime, what happens with men is they get older is they aren't playing sports anymore. They're spending a lot of time watching other men play sports, right? And then there's kind of this disconnection because sometimes your kids become your best friends. Now your kids are gone. And for men, it becomes a time where they start really losing those connections and they start losing those friendships. And they say it's one of the most important times for men. They say a lot of men that are even our age have zero friends, have no friends, because it's always been that connection to playing a sport, watching my kids play sport. Maybe my kids were my best friends. Now my kids are, and women go out and they start to flourish. And I saw this, again, a lot in my spin classes for 20 years, 25 years. They'll start to flourish. And the men are not flourishing. And when a woman gets a taste of that, they say to themselves, I wonder what it would be like to, and then especially around here, the financial constraints. They start thinking about, if I were to go and launch my life again, could I do this? Could I even do this financially? And then what about because now they're in a position sometimes where they're taking care of him. Because now you start going through health issues. Women live longer than men do. A lot of times women are younger than the man that they've dated, sometimes 7, 10, even 15 years younger. And it becomes a situation where they're tasting freedom and what life could be like. But how do I disconnect, or how do I consciously uncouple? For the women that have the courage to do that, and especially in our business where I've seen it done, when they finally do it, it's scary as shiznit for them, but they really thrive. You start saying to yourself, this is maybe, it's not your final chapter, but it could be your final act. There's lots of chapters in an act, I think. And we have seen women thrive, but it's super scary to disconnect from everything that you've ever known, the security of that, and then the financial burden, and then saying to yourself, especially when it's the family home and real estate, we have all these memories, and now what I'm going to do, and then it's one thing if a man goes out and cheats, but a lot of men don't. Like, a lot of men don't go out and cheat. And to kick him to the curb, or to consciously uncouple from them when there's been no cheating in that relationship, I think it's one of the hardest things for couples to do. Women thrive when they do it, men don't.
Yeah, and I don't want to impose my belief systems on other people, but I always root for people on either side, men or women, to do it sooner, because you're not going to get those years back. And to be in a situation that is clearly unhappy, clearly unfulfilling, clearly, even when you're with the kids, your kids see it all. Your kids are not stupid.
Yeah.
The kids don't go, oh my gosh, never saw that coming, Mom and Dad, that you were fighting 3 days a week and screaming at each other all the time. Your kids understand and they see it. And I think it's better to just rip the Band-Aid off and turn a new chapter.
Yeah. Hey, we don't want to leave things on a sad note. I got some great news from the Real Brady Bros and also In Touch Magazine. We got folks that are back together, and I'll tell you more on the other side of this.
You're listening to The Ron and Don Show on the Ron and Don Radio Network.
All right, you guys, welcome back to the Ron and Don Show. Have you been reading In Touch Magazine?
No, I do not read
Got some great updates. Who is John? You know who John Stamos is?
Of course.
Not from this old house, from House of Cards. No, what's he from?
Full House.
Full House, from Full House. He was Uncle Jesse.
Right, John
Uncle Jesse.
Stamos.
And then also, what is
He
he
was
else?
married.
What else is he famous for?
He was famous for being the backup drummer for the Beach Boys.
Well, he now is the drummer, because the backup drummer, I don't think, could travel and drum anymore. So he kind of is the drummer.
Yeah, he's a decent drummer.
And sometimes the drummer from over here in Kirkland that has the big frog on us, when John Stamos can't do it, that guy will go drum for the
I don't
Beach
know
Boys,
that guy.
Which he's amazing. He's a
Good.
great drummer. So anyway, John Stamos was married to
Rebecca Romaine.
Yeah, and then they broke up. Things didn't go well. She left him. We just talked about that. She left him
For cause. Like, he
Well-
had some addiction issues and some behavior issues that were not conducive to a happy
Yeah.
marriage.
So anyway, I guess he had some issues with substance and all that. He gets straight and he decides, and sometimes people do this in the white light of sobriety, where you learn all this truth, is they think that everybody wants to know all their truth, right? So he decides, not only I'm going to take the white light of sobriety and share all my truth, but I'm going to put it in a book.
Yeah, why not?
So he puts
Memoir.
He puts it in a book, and boy, he says some shiznit things about her, doesn't he, in the book?
Yeah, he kind of throws Rebecca under the bus in a couple different ways.
In the meantime, Jerry O'Connell now is in the picture. Jerry is married to Rebecca, and everybody knows Jerry from the Railroad Track movie, right?
Stand By Me.
There you go. Yeah, everybody knows Jerry from that. And now Jerry has a talk show that's called The What? It's not The Soup.
I don't know.
Is it The Talk? I think he's on The Talk. Did The Talking? He's on one of these daytime shows.
I don't know about this part.
And he comes out and he dances.
But he married Rebecca Romaine.
I think we went, Matt.
and
Didn't
they-
we already go over that?
They have several children together.
Yeah. So anyway, Jerry ends up reading the book, and he's on the talk show. Again, it's not The Soup.
Well, he only read the book, though, because his teenage kids would come down for
Right.
breakfast and go, hey, there's a new book out talking smack about Mom. Have you read it?
Yeah. So anyway, Jerry comes out, who's usually pretty nice because he's talking to all the soap opera moms during the week on the talk, The Soup, whatever it is. And everybody sits around on the couch, and they've been consoling him about what John Stamos is. Update. John Stamos and Jerry O'Connell are out in public, and John Stamos' new wife is there. Have you seen his new wife?
I have.
Wow. How would you
What about
describe
Rebecca
her?
Romaine?
What?
What about Rebecca?
The Talk.
The Talk. Thanks. The Talk. Did I say the Soup?
Yeah, he replaced Sharon Osbourne, as it turns out.
There you go. Replace Sharon. Yeah. So she's been dealing with some stuff, hasn't she? So anyway.
But he and his wife hosted the Real Love Boat on CBS.
Yeah, everybody has talked about that Jerry and John, and this is great news, that they just took a selfie together and evidently they're getting along and everything's great. I'm saying, and the reason why you have to look at John Stamos' new wife, if John Stamos' new wife is not there, there's no way that Jerry O'Connell comes over to take a picture with John Stamos because John Stamos' wife is smoking hot. I think what happened...
So is Jerry's wife.
Not that hot anymore. Look her...
I looked up Rebecca Romaine.
You looked up... that was back in the
Who
day.
do you do?
Look up some current pictures. She's not... Rebecca's... If Rebecca Stamos, who used to be Stamos... is
Well, I'm going to let you dig this hole.
No, she's like a 4. She's like a 4.
Wow.
She is a 4 compared to John Stamos' new wife.
I'm out of this. Rebecca Romaine is a beautiful woman.
John Stamos' new wife, I would have to give her an 8. I can't give her a 10 because kids don't do that on the internet anymore. Like my son explained to me the other day, if it's a scale 1 to 10, you never give anything over an 8.
I am not going to rate
Yeah.
these spouses.
Well, this was in Touch magazine. They have them all rated and everything. So anyway, some good news. They're back together, but I don't know if they are. I think
Who's
it has
back
something
together?
to do. Well, they're supposedly they're friends again, and they took this selfie. But look who's standing in the middle of the selfie. It's John Stamos' wife, and all you can do is look at her and go, "I know why Jerry O'Connell walked over and took the picture."
Can't you just say bygone? They celebrate the fact that they buried the...
No. I can't say this though. Vin Diesel.
I don't want to know about Vin Diesel. I want to know about Nicole Kidman.
No. What do you want to know about Nicole Kidman?
Is she back together with her husband?
Who? Keith Urban.
Keith Urban.
No. Keith has been touring.
Right.
And,
but he's always touring.
And see what the show is that he's on. He's on
The Voice or something.
Well, he's on a country music show that's a version of The Voice because he used to be on that.
CMT something.
Something. And anyway, there's
like touring.
There's
is
this
new.
girl on there, and I think her name's Lainey because every country star now wears white boots, has a cowboy hat, and their name's Lainey. So Lainey is on this show. She ends up, I think, winning the show. Boy, can she play a banjo.
The Road.
She's on the... See? I told you. It's called The Road. Everything's the something. What's her name? Find out, Matt, what her name is. She wins or she does. So anyway. Thank you, Bridget, Lainey.
Man, you watch some trashy TV.
What he does, and it's so awesome. What he does is he gives her a job in his band.
Why wouldn't he?
And they start touring together.
Okay.
And then he comes
He's a
out,
generous human being.
and some of the songs that he wrote that he used to sing about Nicole Kidman, he changes the words. And now he's up there singing it, and he brings out the new banjo guitar player, and they're singing the song to each other, and he takes
Nicole
out the
Kidman-
words about Nicole. They're still married. At the time, and then that's when all of us knew something is going on with Nicole Kidman. And by the way, she's a lot taller than he is. It's always bothered me. And he even
Are you rooting for them to not be together?
he wears the lifts. Well, he wears the lifts in his shoes.
He's a great guitar
What's
player.
weird is he wears the lifts in his shoes just like Tom Cruise did. They both wore the lifts.
It's hard to find a tall guy.
They're
in
saying that
Hollywood.
Nicole Kidman, she's been on all these shows where she's pretty sexy for her age.
Right.
I'd give her a 5.5 compared to
Wow,
the
why
4.
are you rating everybody?
Rebecca mentioned. So they're saying that all this sexually charged stuff, Keith doesn't like it.
I'm rooting for those two kids. I like them.
Yeah. And then finally,
What does Vin Diesel got to do with anything?
Vin Diesel, who The Rock used to call a candy ass. Can I say that? Used to call him a candy ass when he come out and say, "Do you know what The Rock's cooking?" They've been on what they got 11, 12 Fast and Furious movies now. They got in a fight, evidently, like during the first movie, like back in '94, and they've never gotten along. And it's one of the reasons why they say The Rock left the franchise. They're back together, and they're going to do Fast and Furious 12. The reason, and then Vin Diesel came out and said, hey, it's all good, bro. And
Here, I'm gonna
and
take
then
a-
Rock said, you're not a candy ass anymore. So they're back together. I think
Let's
the
take a
reason
picture with John Stamos' wife.
No, I think the reason they're back together is because The Rock just came out in a movie called, is it The Smashing Machine or the something?
Yeah, something like that.
Vin said it's great, which means it's probably not. No one's watched the movie.
The critics, it got critical acclaim.
But have you watched it?
No.
Everybody who's told me it got critical acclaim, no one's seen it.
I don't go to a lot of movies these days.
Nobody's watched it. I don't even think Vin Diesel will watch it when he said, hey, and I think Vin enjoyed him falling on his candy ass because he called him a candy ass. So now I think The Rock is trying to rebrand himself because his last 3 movies have just been crash and burn. So he's going back, he's doing Disney animation, and he's going to go back do Fast and Furious 12 or 21, whatever it is. Finally.
Dude, we can't end on the Brady Bros.
Finally. This is great news.
I can't take it
Jan
today.
Brady has not been on the real Brady Bros.
Can't take it.
Marsha's on there. Cindy's on there. Alice hasn't been on there. She's dead. Dad has not been on there. He's dead. Let's see. What else? Mom's dead. Sam the Butcher's dead.
That should give you a clue as to how old this story is.
He wants to end on an up note. He's talking about
Greg is almost 80.
Who's dead? On
Not
the Brady
dead. He's on
Bunch.
Broadway. Peter's a great entrepreneur. Bobby's still out racing cars.
Awesome. We got through the whole cast.
Anyway, it seems like there was a little between Marsha and Marsha and Jan. They're coming on the next episode together.
Oh my God, I can't wait. You're going to have to send me the link.
Something has worked out. I don't know what it is.
Send me the link and I'll ignore it and then you'll talk about it anyways.
In an update, I did order myself. Don't order it for me for Christmas. I did order the Alice cookbook, even though Alice couldn't cook, with all the recipes that she stole from other people.
I literally had that in my cart for you, and then you sent a picture of it, and I thought, oh, it's already.
No, I don't have it yet. It's on back order. Do you have it?
No, I was going to buy it, and then I saw that you were going to buy it.
Buy it. It's $7.91.
You buy that. I'm not buying that.
Come on.
No, it's over now. I ruined the surprise.
Anyway, I was gonna cook something for you guys out of the cookbook and bring it in.
And I got Ron a Rebecca Romaine cookbook.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Good. Hey, you guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the Ron and Don Show. Thanks for listening to the radio and the podcast, but also don't forget about real estate, right?
Yeah, you can go to ronandonsitdown.com, get a buyer's playbook, a seller's playbook. You can book a Ron and Don sit down there. You can email me directly if you need some help, ron@ronanddon.com.
Yeah, don't forget, now's a great time to buy. The spring is a great time to sell. Always is a best time to invest. Don't forget, we sell the sound, so we know the market all around the sound because you guys listen to us all around the sound. So we buy, sell, and invest all around the sound. So, and if you're new to buying and investing, or you're new to thinking about, hey, I've owned this house for years, I am house rich, but I'm cash poor. Sometimes we help you figure out a way to stay in your house. In fact, we sold someone a house a number of years ago. We helped him put some Airbnbs inside. He called me the other day and he said, we're thinking about selling. I said, don't sell. We'll figure out how to take that other door and make it a VRBO or an Airbnb. That's exactly what we're doing. They're in tech. They're moving down to the Bay. They're going to hang on to the home here, and someone's going to keep paying down the debt. It's on Queen Anne. It'll keep going up in value. So we're not always great real estate agents, but I do think we always give you great advice. We do have a fiduciary duty to you. We take that seriously, to always do what's best for you and not what is best for us. All right. Thanks to Matt and Grace, my son, our good friend Charlie the dog. He's Ron. I'm Don. Don't what? You're bending towards the microphone. Until next time, don't forget. Go ahead, Matt. I know that you want to say it. You've been listening to the Ron and Don Show all night
Thanks, Brian.
on the Ron and Don Radio.
Hey, it's G-Force O'Neill. Thanks for listening to my dad and his boyhood friend, Mr. Ron.